What's up, RHP football fans? This is Matt Hershema once again for another edition of A Charge to Keep, the official podcast of Rio Hondo Prep Football. I have two very great guests on here today that I'm going to be joined, that are going to be joining me. I should say I'm going to be joined by the guys you'll be hearing a lot of this upcoming season. A lot of probably more than you'll be hearing me, even though I'm running this podcast here. You're going to hear from two guys that are going to be the eye in the sky, the voice really for you guys that can't make the football games. We are going to be joined today by both Kyle Horton and Clark Bollinger, the voices of the Rio Hondo Prep Facebook Live video. They give the play-by-play, the color analysts analysis, I should say, of the upcoming games, as you've heard from them in the past. Two guys that give of their time and are dedicated to Rio Hondo Prep football, much like I am. So I thought, what better way to kind of kick off the season or as we get closer to kickoff than to bring on the guys you're going to be hearing from, because I know a lot of people are busy. People can't always make the games, and that's one of the benefits of doing the podcast, is giving a recap show for those of us that are very busy and just want to tune in and see how the boys are doing. But you know what, when we are able to tune in, it's these guys right here who you will be hearing from on Friday nights or whenever the games are played. But they put a lot of time in. You know what? It's easy to be critical of anyone. I know I get criticized for doing the pod and things I do and say, but it's not easy with the microphone, especially when you're doing it in real time, which Kyle and Clark will be doing here in the upcoming season. They've been doing it for a couple of years, and I'm curious kind of how it all got started for them, when they started broadcasting the games for Rio Hondo Prep, why they do it. I think I know why, but I'd like to hear it from them. Maybe talk about their playing days a little bit. Yeah, just diving into this Rio Hondo Prep football season content, right? I told you guys when I started this new podcast, A Charge to Keep, that it would be all Rio Hondo Prep football. And as we get closer and closer here to the opening kickoff of the 2022 season, August 26th, hosting the El Monte Lions at Care Park there in Irwindale. I continue to be excited about this. So I'll have some maybe closing remarks after I'm done talking to Kyle and Clark, but I'm really pumped up about this and just excited that they were willing to come on here and talk about Rio Hondo Prep football themselves. So let's bring on the main attraction, the official voices of Rio Hondo Prep football, Kyle Horton and Clark Bollinger. Okay, it is now my privilege to be joined by two young men who have given a lot of their time to the Rio Hondo Prep football program. They are the voices of Rio football. I'm joined by Clark Bollinger and Kyle Horton from the class of 2016. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, how's it going, Matt?
Hey, what's up, Matt? Thanks for having us on.
Oh man, it's a pleasure, guy. It's a pleasure. I like hearing from guys that talk a little bit better than I do. You guys have done a great job the past few years, working with the broadcasting and everything. Let me ask you kind of, I guess, one at a time. Kyle, when did you guys start announcing the Rio football games?
So we started really going at it in 2019, 2020-ish, when everybody, was obviously stuck at home. And so they had to have as few people at the games as possible. And so that was our way to broadcast the games to everybody. And so everybody could still watch.
And Clark, what do you remember about getting started? If I'm not mistaken, you're really the play-by-play guy, and Kyle kind of does the commentary. What do you remember from getting started with this whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, basically it started, Mr. Bray, actually, I was working with him on some like maintenance project, and he mentioned kind of like just in passing, I was asking him about how he films the games and stuff, and he mentioned like, oh yeah, we have a way where we could actually add like an announcer or something like that. And I'm like, oh no way, that's super cool. Like, I'd be interested in doing something like that. And he was like, oh yeah, why don't you come on down and we'll see if we can figure something out. And so yeah, that was probably in 2019 when we first started tinkering with it. And then Kyle was kind of like helping Mr. Bray with the tech stuff as well. But yeah, it wasn't really until like 2020 where we kind of were more in our groove a little bit. The first year was a little bit rough with the technology and stuff, but yeah, we've definitely come a long way.
No, I know a thing or two about that. Rough starts and just kind of figuring out as you go. And Kyle, you really need to be careful at down at Rio ever saying, "Oh man, yeah, I might be interested in doing that," because it's kind of the philosophy at Rio that you get the keys handed to you right away, and it's like, okay, take off with this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got to go. And so this project, more than others, has actually progressed a lot faster than I anticipated. And we got a lot of cool stuff last year that we just added from last year. And then we have a bunch of other stuff that we're going to be adding this year. So we got a lot of really exciting stuff coming down the line.
Oh man, it's evolving. It's fantastic. I love to see it grow, and hopefully it's a small piece of the puzzle where we can take Real Hondo Prep to maybe some bigger than we ever thought it could be. Clark, I want to ask you, as the play-by-play guy, was it something that was just like, hey, I want to do that, or did you have any experience prior to being an announcer? Did you want to do this maybe as a kid, or was this a hobby? Where was the motivation for you?
Yeah, I mean, really growing up, I mean, it was kind of a dream of mine to do something like that. I mean, if you'd ask my family members, whenever I was at home when I was younger, and I was playing Madden or playing, MLB The Show, I'd be announcing the game as I'm playing, and so yeah, it was it's something that I definitely have kind of had like in the back of my head. I never thought I'd get the chance to do it, but yeah, so like when the door opened, that small conversation with Mr. Bray, it was just like, hey, it's kind of like a small dream of mine just to be able to do something like this. So, just we just took it and ran with it. And yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun for sure. Yeah.
It's funny how things work out, maybe a little different than you thought they would. Like, I always wanted to have my own talk show, radio, talking life and sports. And then a few years ago, it's like, wait, why can't I do a podcast? Even if no one listens, it'll be fun to do. And then all of a sudden the Real Hondo Prep football idea comes. It's just like, you can do things that you want to do if you're just willing to do them. Like, it's just, we'll go do it. That's kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Totally.
so it's really cool to see guys that dive into this. Kyle, Clark, one more thing. You mentioned you used to announce a lot. Who were some of the maybe announcers when you were growing up as a kid that you really liked, or maybe some that you like today?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in SoCal, I mean, grew up on Vin Scully. I mean, a lot of announcers that I really like are actually baseball guys. So probably my favorite one, and one who I probably like the best, his name's Hawk Harrelson, the great White Sox radio guy. And I mean, part of the reason I like him so much, because I don't really have a particularly like amazing voice or anything, but just the way he says things, to kind of throw in some humor or throw in some raw emotion. So I tend to try and do stuff like that to try and get a little bit more creative when I announce. So I kind of take that from him a little bit, but yeah, probably those two are probably. Yeah.
Well, you can't go wrong with Vince Scully. He's so poetic. And then Hawk Harrelson, he's like, this game is over. Like, he's just so much energy. Oh my goodness. He yells at umpires quite a bit, but hey, they all do.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kyle, so you're kind of the tech side of things. And what I remember from Mr. Bray, I reminded him of this when he came on my Get Home Safe podcast, is Mr. Bray, his oldest son, Doc, was a freshman when I was a sophomore, and he just brought a video camera to watch our game, JV game. And I think the varsity, whoever did the filming, didn't have a juice or whatever. And so they said, hey, can you film our game? And so he did. And then this great journey when Mr. Bray started filming everything, I reminded him of that. And he was like, man, yeah, that was just something I did that day. So Kyle, for you, kind of being the tech side, have you always kind of had that in you, or was it kind of been learn as you go, or where do you find your skills are best behind the scenes with the tech stuff?
Oh yeah, especially in tech. It's very much a learn as you go kind of thing for me. And let's look this up on Google and see if anything comes up. That's probably, I've had to do that several times when our stream goes out, or like we're trying to figure something out with NFHS. Like, that was tough, especially for that Charter Oak game. We spent probably the first half an hour. I mean, we were there like an hour and a half early just to make sure we were ready, but then we still weren't ready for the game. So we were probably out for the first like 10 minutes or so. We were just scrambling online, trying to look for stuff, see what would work. And we eventually got it up, and we got to televise or like broadcast one of the greatest games in RHP history. So that was just a ton of fun to broadcast and a ton of fun to watch.
Well, amen to that. And back to Clark here. There have been some broadcasters. They've asked, "Hey, Al Michaels, did you know you were going to say Miracle on Ice? Jack Buck, we'll see you tomorrow night. Did you know you were going to say that?" When you said, this is the moment I knew I wanted to talk to you guys. It was a vague. I could barely hear you. Damian Diaz intercepts a pass. He's running up the sideline or takes the knee. And I don't want to mess it up, so I'll let you, but you said something along the lines of David's rock has made its mark or something, basically the whole David and Goliath thing. What exactly did you say, so I don't mess it up? And did you know you were going to say that beforehand?
Yeah. So that's really interesting because a lot of people have asked me that, like, man, did you think you were going to say that before? Basically, yeah, I said David Stone has found its mark. So that was kind of the phrase that, yeah, just came to mind at the end. I mean, I really didn't think about it before. It was just kind of like, I don't know. It was just an amazing moment. And I knew, I mean, thinking before the game, I knew there was going to be if we were able to win, I was going to have to do some sort of David Goliath thing, because that's what the game was, right? But I didn't know exactly what I was gonna say, so I mean that just totally came out of nowhere. I don't know how, but yeah, I mean it worked out.
Even though it was a little planned, it sounded very authentic and real to me, and I love stuff like that. It sounded just real in the moment, and I think that's what a lot of people who heard it took with them. To me, it summed up the night perfectly. It was a job well done, and Kyle, those play-by-play guys, they tend to get all the credit. They get all the glory. They get to talk the most. But, I know that it's the guys behind the scenes that maybe come up with some stats or, have to more of the setup feature that do the brunt work. So I want to give you a lot of kudos as well. What exactly during the game is your primary goal and objective? Clark is obviously given the down and distance, and then saying what happens out there. But where do you find your role mostly? Is it stats? Is it just helping Clark out if he messes something up? Where do you see yourself mostly behind the scenes?
So basically, I'm just there to really try and analyze the game. We both actually bring all these stats and get ready for the game beforehand, and so we have all of those pretty much ready to go. And like, I spent probably 6 to 8 hours watching Charter Oaks film before the game, just to have some stuff to like say about them. And it made me realize, like, watching all that film, is that we had a really, really good shot of winning the game. And I even said that beforehand. I was like, Clark, I think this is a 50-50. And despite them having probably more people that were more athletic than us, and just having the overall size advantage, the weakness they had was they couldn't pass. And so I just came into this going, our pass defense was not necessarily the greatest last year, but our run defense was just absolutely phenomenal. And knowing that going into the game, I was like, dude, we have a really good chance of winning this game. And so a lot of that is just me going in and watching film. Now I didn't prepare as much for all the other games as I did for Charter Oak, obviously, but it's just that beforehand, like, okay, this is what we have to do to beat this team. This is what we have to do to beat this team. And how can we not beat ourselves, which is kind of what we did against Campbell Hall. We just kind of beat ourselves. And that was the only loss we had on the season, in the regular season anyway. And so it was just part of that. What can we do? What should we do to win this game? And how are we going to accomplish it? And put that in simple terms so that people not as like football knowledgeable can understand it.
Yeah, no, what's interesting is, your analysis there is great, because the pass defense against Campbell Hall, who was a pretty good passing team themselves, that is what beat us. And then the following week, also in the playoffs there too. I think that's something that if you have to sum up Rio football, not just the recent years, but forever, You're going to be able to run the ball and stop the run, which are two of the, the two of the foundations of any good football team, in my opinion. So, you got to bend, not break sometimes. And I think that's ultimately what Rio did in Charter Oak, that Charter Oak game for sure. Let me go back to guys when you played. You graduated in 2016. Time sure flies. You're both 24 now. Clark, what can you tell me about your Rio Hondo Prep playing experience?
Oh man, it was just tons of fun. I mean, yeah, just forging those friendships. I mean, just forming those long-term relationships that I know I can go. There's certain guys that I have those lifelong friendships with that were formed out there. On the football field, especially. Yeah, I know. Yeah, our year we didn't do a whole lot when it comes to like postseason playoffs, championships, anything like that. I just had tons of fun just playing with the guys, and again, yeah, forming those relationships and just enjoying. I think the Rio high school experience is just was so good for me. Just playing all those sports, hanging out with friends. So I just really loved my time at Rio, and it was just yeah, it was amazing.
Well, it's a big part of what makes this fun is that each of us wore that uniform. And so to be able to, and so we all have that in common. We were years apart for each other, but to be able to have that experience is just something we're all kind of in the basket together there. Kyle, what about your memories of playing Rio Hondo Prep football?
Oh, they're great. I mean, the practices, everybody knows that, practices that you're just there to really like focus on what's going on for that week. So it's not necessarily the most fun, but man, those games, those were something else. Those are experiences that I don't think you can get anywhere else. And I think it's just so important for young guys to have experiences like that. And having those experiences in my life really did a lot for me. And so I just hope that through something like this, maybe they hear something or it's something that we talk about during the game or something that makes the little guys go, man, I really want to play RHP football when I grow up.
Yeah, no, the brand is real, and it's something that we're going to continue to promote here with the likes of guys like you who are doing great work. Clark, let me ask you. Well, I'll ask both of you guys. Clark first. Since high school, we know what you're doing now with the broadcasting. What has life been like after high school? I mean, college. Are you guys doing other things at Cary Youth League? What have you been up to the past few years, Clark?
Yeah. So after high school, I went to Pasadena City College for 2 years, and then transferred to Cal State LA. Graduated there in 2020, the spring, so right when COVID hit, and then got my degree in communication. And right now, I'm actually at a seminary at Talbot School of Theology at Biola. Training to be a pastor, and that's kind of the direction that I'm taking right now. And still coaching at Care, and kind of going towards pastoral ministry. So that's kind of my goal right now. Yeah.
Oh man, that's wonderful, man. God bless you. That's doing the Lord's work literally, and also putting time in there at Care. And Kyle, what about yourself? I mean, what is it? 22? It's college. Can you believe high school was 6 years ago? What have you been up to those years?
Man, I've been in college pretty much all those 6 years. I've been taking my time. I started off at Citrus and spent a lot of time there, and then just last year transferred to Cal Poly Pomona and majoring in business administration with emphasis in computer information systems. And so that kind of plays into like what I've been doing, right, with all the tech stuff and all that. And so I'm actually a senior now at Cal Poly, and I'm planning to graduate spring of 2023. And I just moved out of my parents' house like a month ago. So I'm in a new place, and I'm just trying to get myself situated, and I've got all this stuff set up. So we're looking pretty good right now. We're looking pretty good.
Fantastic. You guys are both living the dream. This is a fun time to be alive, fun age anyway, I should say. And it sounds like you guys are have clear direction of what you're doing, and then you get to come and do this RHP football thing. Small connection to both of you. Kyle, I went to Citrus myself, and I was there longer than 2 years, but that doesn't say that on the certificate. And Clark, I was a communications major also, so we got those two things in common
Nice.
as well. Kyle, talk to me about maybe some additions this upcoming year. In previous years, kind of it's Facebook Live and Mr. Bray's video, and then you guys, you're able to broadcast through that. You have instant replays, which is cool. What are some upcoming changes or maybe some of the same we should be prepared for this season?
So this year, the biggest change is we're going to be moving from Facebook Live to the NFHS network, the same thing we used for the Charter Oak game. We're going to be using that full time, and that gives us broadcasting rights to all the games. So nobody can come in and take our games and not let us broadcast. We recorded the Campbell Hall game, but we weren't actually able to broadcast it live. And so we were really burned about that. And so we went, okay, if we go to playoffs and we're not broadcasting, we're going to be really upset. And so last year we kind of did like a jerry rigging for NFHS. And so we were able to get the game off, most of it. But yeah, that's going to be the big thing this year. We're moving to NFHS network instead of Facebook Live. And then something new for just the broadcast in general. I think for the Charter Oak game, we tried to do like a little pregame show. I don't think it worked, but I mean, we had everything planned. We had everything ready to go. For our end, it was just the technology didn't like to cooperate. Yeah. And so we're having pregame shows now. We're going to have a sideline cam this year. We're going to have a brand new sideline cam with Mr. Guerrero, JG's dad. And so that's going to be really awesome. We're going to have post-game interviews, which we've had. And then we're actually, because of all this new stuff, we're getting a dedicated broadcast director. And so we're currently looking for somebody to be a broadcast director. So Clark and I can just focus on announcing the games and calling the games.
Okay. No, very cool. And I had a little bit more planned this year to do as well, being able to attend the games, do some pregame and postgame stuff as well. So I will not step on your toes. Hey, we're just members of the media. You know, you got ABC and NBC and ESPN there. We're all one big family that are going to get the best content we can. So that sounds great. Now, Clark, I'm assuming you know this, but as far as accessing the NFHS website, getting access to these games, what's the best way for fans to be able to do this?
Well, we should put it up on our Facebook page if you need to refer to it. Yeah, I mean, the basically the way you would sign up in order to watch is you would just go to the NFHS website, and then there's you would have to subscribe. They have a little subscription thing, and it would cost you probably $11 a month. Which works out to about $2 to $3 a game. So that would be the only downside to switching over, would be it's not free anymore. Although you may be able to watch it afterwards, but yeah, that would be the way to watch it, and we should put that on the Facebook page, how you can do that.
Okay, cool. Well, whatever you guys put out there, I will definitely share as well. And yeah, look, it's a couple dollars. I mean, it is what it is. You only subscribe for 2 months, then, cancel it is how I usually do it when, real games are available. So, but what will be nice is that subscribing to the NFHS is that we won't have to listen to some random broadcaster. We'll actually be able to listen to you guys and in theory, right, multiple camera angles. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're gonna have multiple camera angles this year, and we have the dedicated scoreboard camera as well. I'm not sure if we're getting a score bug from NFHS, but if we were able to, it'd be pretty awesome. And just to add to your broadcaster note, I remember sitting and talking to Clark before the 2020 Poly game, and I'm like, dude, we're about to like broadcast at the Rose Bowl. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And then NFHS took the game, and so we weren't able to broadcast it. So I went, oh, well, I might as well subscribe to listen to this guy. And no offense to him, but he just didn't know the teams. He just didn't know like the significance of that game and what how many years of rivalry that's like festered. And so he called it like it was just a normal game. He did a fine job, but he didn't quite understand like the gravity of the game.
No. Well, yeah. No. And I mean, if I could add something too, because I think people don't realize how much time, like, especially Kyle. I mean, he puts a lot of time into like before the game, trying to figure out, different tendencies, different things that have happened throughout the year. Yeah, and like, and just random people who are announcing one game, wouldn't know like different tendencies that we have or different things like that. So yeah, that I mean that is one advantage. And especially, yeah, I mean, going back to even the Charter Oak game, yeah, I mean, Kyle and I, we had a full, I mean, we had a full pregame show. We had a full, almost book of notes. And unfortunately, we didn't really get to use that much of it because one of their coaches was actually standing next to us. We didn't think he was going to be there, but he was actually standing next to us. But we couldn't even use it all for the Charter Oak game. But yeah, we do come prepared, and we do have a lot of different storylines and different things. Yeah, to say during the game.
No, you guys put in, you could tell you're not just winging it. You got some preparation, which is great. Kyle, how in the world do you guys do the instant replay thing? Do you have a monitor yourself up there? Because the first couple times I saw it, you're replaying the previous play. I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
Yeah, so for the instant replay, it's just a feature that the app that we use to broadcast actually has. And so I don't know how they get it. I don't know how they get it to work. I just press the replay button and it goes. Now, one of the things with that and why we need a director for this upcoming year is because of that replay button, because it switches audio sources and it switches back to the recording's audio source. So you don't hear what I'm actually saying or what Clark's saying to commentate over the replay. It'll play over the replay, and you have to make that switch super fast. And so with all this new stuff going in, it's going to be impossible for me to be able to do that. And so I just need a director at this point and someone who's going to be able to do that switch and just really focus on that. And so we can have a really clean replay experience.
Yeah. Hey, someone needs to step up. Let's go. So it's opportunity. Someone out there, get involved, be a part of the trifecta of this awesome broadcast team here. Clark, have you had any moments you remember that I don't know, the first couple games in the previous years where you tongue twister or anything, or saying the wrong name or anything? any moments like that come to mind?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember the first game we did. It was just me by myself, and basically announcing the entire game, even through like normally where there'd be like a commercial or like during a timeout, something like that. I was trying to come up with stuff to say literally for like 2 hours straight. So yeah, it was definitely a harder because not having Kyle there, just like someone to talk to, it was just kind of like felt like I was talking into the abyss. Like but yeah, I mean there were definitely times where it takes a while to try and figure out to find players and know certain players and things like that. So yeah, I've definitely called or had the wrong name, like called it the wrong name before. I think I'm trying to think if I've ever I don't know if I've ever said anything like that I would like regret saying. I don't know.
No worries. Yeah. No, it's but, not as easy as it sounds, to go in there and just talk or announce what's going on there. So that's for sure. Kyle, I'll start with you. Both of your dads played Rio Hondo prep football, and it's pretty special just going through it as just one person, but let alone to kind of continue a family tradition. I mean, Kyle, your uncle is head coach Mark Carson as well. So when you were coming up playing, and even now after, do you still have kind of a bond with your dad? Phil Horton, who played Rio Hondo prep. I believe they were teammates, actually, both of your dads.
I don't remember exactly, but I think they were.
Yeah,
I think they won a CIF together. So that was yeah. So that they were a tough act to follow. I mean, my dad still got his all CIF award on his like workbench in his garage. So I didn't quite get up to that level, but I also played a different position than him because he was scrawny. He tells me all the time about how he faced like this Kansas City, the guy played for the Kansas City Chiefs, this fullback, and he was this scrawny little safety, and how he was just holding on for dear life. And he said, by the grace of God, the guy tripped on his corpse as he ran over him. So saved a touchdown.
Oh, that's funny. The legend grows bigger, I'm sure, over the years. Mr. Horton, one of my favorite teachers, by the way, too. Clark, your dad won 2 CIF championships, 77 and 79. And of course, 77 as a sophomore had a pretty famous tackle or something of that nature in that championship game.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him telling us about it. I mean, he doesn't like to talk about himself. He's a very humble guy. But yeah, I remember him telling us that story as a kid. You know, him just basically not really doing much the whole game. But then, yeah, making that one big tackle on the goal line, you know, just tripping the guy up, and it ended up, you know, giving them a chance to win. So yeah, that's a cool story. And he doesn't really talk about it that much, but yeah, it's a cool moment.
It's cool to have that legacy in the family, you know, from both of you guys, and, you know, to have that in common for sure. Kyle, I'm going to ask you about the defense, since Uncle Mark, that's what he specializes in. And then Clark, I'll come to you about the Rio offense. If you guys are up for that.
Good.
What do you see, Kyle, defensively, that I get that makes Rio so successful defensively? They run that weird 3-3-5 defense. I was at the Coliseum watching USC and BYU with your uncle when he saw BYU running this, and the wheels started to spin as to, hey, that might work well for Rio Hondo teams. What is your interpretation, or not interpretation, what is your thoughts on the defense, and maybe what we can expect for some guys this upcoming year?
Yeah, so the 3-3-5, that's just one of the more unique defenses. It's very rarely run anymore because of all the air raid stuff that's been going on. It's almost impossible to run it at this point, and because it leaves so many holes right in the middle of the field. And so for our defense, we're basically daring the other team to throw. And if they got a really good quarterback, we're in a lot of trouble. But it just really goes to show like how good, like we have 6 guys in the box, and we have like a ridiculously low yards per rush attempt or something. It's like 2.4 or something like that from last season. It's something ridiculous. But yeah, we lost. Our D-line is usually like the very front, right? And it's just like we had such a strong D-line last year with Ryan, of course, and then we had Royal and Paul in there, and they just plugged it up. It was really awesome to see that. And everybody was focused on Ryan, and all the teams were scheming for Ryan. They forgot that, you know, Paul and Royal, they're all league guys, and they're like, they're not like short stuff either. So
no,
I remember Paul coming through a lot in that Charter Oak game because they schemed so hard for Ryan. Man, in terms of like linebackers, we lost Jaden, you know, like a lead tackler. And so we got a lot of guys we got a lot of positions to fill on that defensive side, and we're really going to have to step up this year. But I'm excited to see who does and who comes out of summer camp.
Yeah. Well, and just for a couple more defensive thoughts is that, you know, when you have only 3 down linemen, those guys really have to be active and really, you know, hold gaps and maybe control an extra blocker or two. And the beauty too, it fits the Rio Hondo kind of mold, is you got a lot of hybrid type guys that are kind of that in between of a lineman and a linebacker, in between a lineman and a safety. And so you got blitzing coming from all kind of different directions. And then you got to be really, we'll say, trustworthy with the three guys really that are key in pass coverage. And you're going to give up some yards. You just can't give up a ton of yards.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that reminded me of my time playing. I mean, when I was a senior, I was 6'5". I'm 6'5" now, but I mean, I was 190 pounds. I didn't have that much, but I was a stick, man. And so I had to cover a lot of ground, especially on the outside, because I played defensive end. And so I just had to cover a lot of that outside gap. And so I'd have to take on a lot of times just two offensive linemen, and they'd come over and try and block me. And my my thing was I was fast, and that's what these guys had. Royal and Paul and Ryan, they're all just fast, and so they all attacked really well, and so they were able to beat those guys, even though sometimes they would get double, even triple teamed, uh, like our favorite players in the NFL do.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially the Rio defense. It's about team defense, taking on an extra blocker, helping out, doing whatever you got to do, gang tackle, no missed tackles, and get the ball, get the ball. Right. Oh man. Clark, let's talk offense, man. I can't explain the Rio offense. It's so unique. It's so different. It's very run oriented. But every now and then you come up with a play action pass that goes a long way. What are your thoughts on Rio Hondo Prep offensively?
Yeah. So, I mean, it ain't a secret what we're gonna try and do. We're gonna try and run the ball. And I think this year it'll look a little bit different than last year. Last year, it was a heavy workload of Jonathan Guerrero, Gio Ortega, kind of those smaller, quicker, faster guys. I think this year we'll start to see some new faces. I mean, Ryan will kind of be the main guy in the backfield. One guy I'm really excited to see is going to be junior quarterback Armando Carvajal. Just to see how he comes in his first real year where he's gonna get all the starts. Just to see how he reacts to it. Good kid, good leader. Really excited to watch him play. And then, just the O-line, we're going to see some younger guys. We may even see a couple freshmen. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit different looking than last year, but we should see a lot of the same schemes. I've gotten to talk to a couple of players. I know Joshua Tafflinger is really excited. He might try and play some tight end, but yeah, our O-line. So yeah, just some new guys, but yeah, kind of that same run first offense, and then maybe incorporating some play action and things like that.
Yeah, when you lose, nearly 5,000 yards in the backfield with just Jonathan Guerrero alone, it's going to look a little different. You do what fits your personnel. Rio pretty much does similar things every year. But I don't think we're going to see Ryan McCullough getting 30, 40 carries a game. You got to mix it up. He stands out too much, right? I'm with you there, Clark, on Armando and seeing him work as a junior. We may see maybe some running plays called for him, maybe option, zone read type stuff that hasn't been in the playbook the past few years, because he does seem very versatile. I've seen he's got a very strong arm, but he can run the ball a little bit. We saw that last year as a wide receiver even. So I think we're going to see a little dual threat from Mr. Armando there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I mean, he had a couple of really nice long runs last year on like reverses, stuff like that as receiver. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll see a lot of that from him. Yeah, I'm not sure what Coach Johnson has planned as far as like designed runs or anything like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see. So yeah.
Yeah, and we got I think Colby Johnson, as a return lineman, will probably be the leader on that O line. Most linemen at Rio, they're going both ways, right? So it's like, here we go. Let's punch you in the mouth and then get up and do it again.
Yeah, no, and I that's another guy I'm really excited to see is Colby. Even last year, I mean, he's had so much varsity reps experience, and he's only going to be going into his junior year. So I think he's really going to blossom this year on that O-line, and I think he'll definitely be a good leader, especially seeing some younger guys getting more of that playing time. I think he'll turn into that kind of O-line leader for them for sure.
Now, did you guys play? You guys will see 2016. So Coach Ken Drain was still the head coach at that time, right?
He was. Yep.
Yeah. Kyle, what can you tell me about your memories of Coach Drain, who coached for so long and, so much success for the program? He definitely could get loud a time or two, but was special to so many of us.
Yeah. And believe it or not a lot of my memories of him were from football. A lot of the time he was just kind of there to make sure that the team was doing good and make sure everybody was doing their jobs and stuff. go over to one of the coordinators and say, hey, this needs to happen or something like that. You move on, calling the timeouts. My greatest memories from him were actually from basketball, where he was actively the head coach, and he would just yell at us like crazy. Our basketball team had a lot of expectations. The previous year we'd gone to the semifinals for CIF. So we had a lot of expectations, and it was a lot of the same guys on the same team. And so one of my best memories was we were playing junior year. It was a playoff game. I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere a little farther north, like on the coast. And it was halftime, and we were way better than the team we were playing. Mr. Drain knew it, but I mean, we were only up by like, I think it was like 4 points. We might've been down 2. And so he just walks up to us. He makes us go outside the gym. That was the first terrifying thing that happened. We just walked right outside the gym because they didn't have a locker room for us really. And so as soon as the door closes, and it closes so slow, I remember it closing so slowly, it just going, and it finally closes, and he just starts screaming at us. Like, the first thing he says, he goes, "Gentlemen, you don't get points for hitting the rim. You don't get points for hitting the backboard. You don't get points for hitting the rim. You get points for putting it in the basket. What is going on?" So he just started going down the line, just roasting everyone and just telling everyone what they were doing wrong. And it was just one of those moments where everybody was like, "Oh man, we better not lose this game, if not for our own pride, but for Mr. Drains." So we did end up winning that game pretty convincingly, but yeah, that was just one of my favorite moments from Mr. Drain, because he was quiet for a lot of the time. But every once in a while, we do something really dumb or just really bad, and he would just get on us.
Yeah,
like crazy.
He'd fix it quick. I think everyone listening who have played for him, listening right now, who's played for him, could hear his tone exactly. Gentlemen, that is spot on. Clark, what about you? What are your memories of Coach Drain? They don't have to be all getting screamed at or whatever, but yeah. He was the head football coach for so long and did such a great job that you got to have a memory or two of him.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, yeah, a lot of memories from other sports as well. But yeah, in football, I mean, he was very, it was kind of different how he coached football. It was more, he was more quiet, didn't quite say as much. But when he spoke, you knew it was going to be something really important. So, I feel like I only had probably a handful of conversations with him during the game. I was talking with Randy or with Mark. But yeah, there was no question who was calling the shots on the sideline, and yeah, it was him for sure. I mean, I remember, yeah, he never yelled at me at all except for one time. I remember we were in practice, and I was quarterback, and we were doing little screen passes. And for some reason, I don't know, I just couldn't throw it to Minico, who was doing these outs, like probably 2 or 3 in a row. I threw like right at his feet. And I remember after I threw the third one, he just turns and he just goes, "Throw it to him. Just throw it to him." And I remember that was literally it. Like, that's the only time he's ever yelled at me, like in any sport at all. But yeah, I remember just his leadership and just him, especially in the club meetings, I think was probably where he affected me the most. Just tons of different club meetings. He did a good club meeting I always remember on running to win, and just everything you do, glorify God and everything you do, run to win. And yeah, so he definitely was, and yeah, still is one of those godly figures in my life that helped make me who I am today. And I know a lot of other people feel the same way. So yeah.
I can definitely, when I'm having kind of a slacker day or something, I can just hear that his voice kick in, and it's like, okay, all right, get into gear here, pick it up, Ursula, let's go. And I did get that time or two also. Just throw it to him. Like, yeah. My bad. Yes, sir. And then the basketball thing. Yeah. I was trying to gain points by hitting the rim all the time, but it just they never added up. Kyle, your uncle coaches the team, as we mentioned. I want to ask you both about Coach Carson, his kind of era here in taking over, and maybe what he's brought to the table, what his style will say. I mean, Kyle, for you being his nephew, is it fun for you to see him in action, and maybe even before he took over, to see that, hey, one day Uncle Mark here is going to be the head coach of Rio football?
Yeah, see, I wasn't even exactly sure I saw the head coaching position coming. But when I used to play, I got hurt my senior year from a Wednesday morning basketball practice. And so I was only going one way at the end of the year. I was only playing defense. So the only one I was really talking to was Mark, and just trying to figure out like what I was doing wrong or like what I could do better. And it was just really, at that point, it looked like it was going to be something that just like, I thought Mr. Drain was just going to coach forever. I thought he was just going to coach his entire life. He was going to go till he dropped. But there was a couple moments near the end of that season where you really saw the head coach come out of him, where he would just kind of take control, not necessarily away from Mr. Drain, but like just in the way he said things and the way he spoke, just really gave off that head coach vibe.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. He's always been a head coach. When he was coaching the Tigers at Wingate Park, it's like you could just see him even at a young age, just taking things to the next level. Clark, what do you make of Mark Carson being the head coach? Just again, his style, it is different. It doesn't make it better or worse than maybe Coach Drain, but it is kind of a new era here of Rio Hondo football. And Mark's fiery, just like Coach Drain was. And what are your thoughts on the way Coach Carson has been doing things the past few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think what he's been doing is great. Just the way he's run the program has been awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a different style than Mr. Drain. He's more upbeat, more energetic on the sideline. But yeah, I mean, I think the kids really can relate with him, and I know he's brought in a good staff as well. There's some other coaches that have come in and kind of helped out a lot as well. But yeah, and especially I think on social media, I think the presence is a lot better than it used to be for sure. I think he's part of that. And then yeah, I mean, just I mean, he's been at RHP for so long and doing a lot of the same things he's always done. But yeah, but
it's
but yeah,
it's
he's
all
been great.
one it's all one big family for sure, and he's just continuing the tradition. I remember when we were juniors, we had shirts with all the championships on the back, and it said the tradition continues. That was our big thing, and I thought that was well done. Mark's always been really good at that, pushing the program, and I know each of us are doing our best to continue that. On that note, if you had to sum up Rio Hondo prep football, what it means, what you mentioned the David versus Goliath thing, but just the Rio Hondo prep football brand, where it's been, where it's now, where it's going. How would you guys sum that up? Kyle, I'll let you go first.
Man, that's a loaded question that I would I'm gonna have to. I would say Rio has always been about being the underdog and being the tougher guy. You know,
Hmm.
we come to games and a lot of times we're just ready to hit before the other team is. And you see it all the time, and like even in down years and in up years, you just see us ready to hit before our opponents, and just our sense of, all right, it's game time, let's go. The first play, we're going out and we're hitting these guys in the mouth. We're setting the tone right off from the first play. We're going to run it right down their throats the whole game. We're going to blitz them like crazy. We're just going to do all this stuff that just tries to get them off balance, and just an unwavering amount of relentlessness.
I love it. I love it, man. Very, very well said. You got me ready to put on a chin strap now, man. I'm ready to rock. Clark, Reels, again, football's been in both of your
Yeah.
families a long time. Your brother played as well, and both of your, and so what is Rio football? If you had to sum it up, what is that RH behind me? What does that mean to you?
Oh man. I mean, yeah, like you said, I've just grown up in the RHP program and care, all that. And I'd say like tradition is a big thing. And then I mean, it really is tough to get away from just the fact that we are smaller, like just always pretty much than the team that we're playing against. You know, I mean, you look at the Charter Oak game. You know, there were 4,000 kids on at Charter Oak, and then there's only 100 at RHP. So it's like, you know, I think that David and Goliath kind of attitude is one that we always take with us to the football field, and it's something we've always had at RHP for sure. So I think being the little guy, but also, you know, being fundamentally sound, being you know, playing good, clean football is all, you know, all what RHP football is all about.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Mark has done a great job in kind of really implementing, say, the alma mater into the program. It's after team dinners. It's you know, before games. It's of course after the games. But to me, if you just look at the words, if you really think about what the words mean, what each sentence represents, to me, that sums up not just the Rio Hondo Prep football program, but the entire school experience. And I always say, especially with this show, man, no matter where we end up in life, we all have that charge to keep still. You know, we still have a strict account to give. We only represent Rio football a short time on the field, but we need to always represent it whatever direction we end up going in life. So that's just one man's opinion, but I think that if you just look at the alma mater and don't just recite the words, but truly believe those words, I think it'll take each of us a long way, and it really sums up the program well. As we kind of get around third here for the final segment or so, again, just to kind of repeat some stuff about this upcoming season. August 26th, the home opener against the El Monte Lions, state champs a few years ago. How are we going to be able to find you guys and listen, since there are some changes? Kyle, what's the best way to stay up to date and what you guys are doing?
So the best way to stay up to date is the RHP Facebook page or like the RHP football page. I'm not exactly sure which one it is. But we're going to post all that stuff about how to access the games on NFHS and all the stuff that's coming. And we're just really excited for this season to get underway as we evolve the broadcast, as it becomes more and more professional, so to speak. And man, I wish I had it, but I wish I could show you the book of the Charter Oak game that I have, because I have this whole binder thing. It's this huge binder. It's like that thick with like notes and stuff like that. I actually have it still. I actually saved it, but it's not in the house. It's at my parents'. So I wish I could show you guys, but I don't have it with me right now. But yeah, NFHS is where we're going to be streaming. We're going to try to do pre-games for every game. Just like so we can get all of our pre-game notes, like keys to the game and all that stuff in before even the first kick starts. So NFHS.
Yeah, NFHS, got it. And I subscribe on there. Again, it's you know, whatever, $11 a month, and you can pick which is your favorite team, so you can get notifications, everything. And so Clark, with the pregame and postgame stuff, you guys are planning, if the game's at 7, to maybe just start that video 5 minutes before the game, and to do kind of some analysis before then?
Yeah. So the goal would probably be 15 minutes before the game to just have the broadcast running, and then just kind of giving some keys to the game or some things we might be looking for. And also it just kind of gives people a chance to you know, to log on and to kind of get going as well. But yeah, so that's kind of the plan as far as that goes. And also one more note, if you do subscribe to that channel, you can watch any game, like if you sign up for the subscription for NFHS, you can watch any game literally nationwide, and you can also watch past years of RHP things that have been on NFHS. So like I know you can watch, like there's some old like girls championship basketball games or like stuff like that. So there's a couple other things you get as well when you subscribe, but yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Hey, it's $11. I mean, times are tough right now for people, but I think it's more than worth it. And especially if you're going to get the multiple camera views. I know Mr. Guerrero doing a great job there. So that's going to be a big help. I will be there, probably just doing little Facebook live clips. I won't do anything like I did before where it was like minutes long. It'll be, one play here, one play there. Again, not to step on your guys' toes. Anyway, any final remarks here as we wrap it up? I mean, the season is fast approaching. I can't wait. I'm excited. I know, Kyle, you're probably already doing a bunch of research and starting another playbook.
Yeah, we got 2 more months. Hope the guys are ready to go when it's game time. Summer camps, those are long. They're long, hard days, but you get through those days and it really does become worth it.
Yes, sir. And indeed. And Clark, you're got to rest up that voice, man. I mean, it's hard to go from 0 to 100 on August 26th. So you got to pace yourself, my friend.
Oh man. Yeah. I think the goal this year is to, I mean, we kind of tried to do it last year, but to kind of bring up those guys in the broadcast who normally don't get their name called that much, like everyone knows the name Gio Ortega, everyone knows the name Jonathan Guerrero, Ryan McCulloch, right? But trying to get those guys who normally don't get their name called as much, trying to give them some recognition and trying to give the entire team some time and just
yeah. Oh, it's what it's all about. That's why football is the greatest team sport out there, because it takes all 11 guys to run a play. Ryan McCulloch can run for a touchdown, but someone's got to snap it, hand it to him, block. I mean, that's what makes football great. The greatest team sport out there, in my opinion. You guys need your own Facebook page, just the dynamic duo or whatever. The Clark and Kyle, charge to keep. Hey, Clark C, Kyle K. I don't know. I'm thinking outside the box here. You need your own Facebook page where you guys can throw content out for everyone. Just a suggestion, so everyone knows where to find all the NFHS stuff too.
Well, we gotta also maybe do some sort of like a collab during a game or something. Maybe like go down to side reporter Matt Hersma or something like that.
I'm in. I don't know much, but I could tell you, I could tell you my opinion of how, throw it down to me and be like, hey, the boys are huffing and puffing, or hey, the Lions, or whatever, whatever you need. I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you guys. Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome, Matt. Yeah.
Guys, I can't thank you enough for doing this. Thanks for all that you do for Real Hondo Prep Football. And hey, we're just getting started, as Coach Carson always says. Let's take this thing and try to promote it as best we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
You got it, guys. Good luck on the preparation. I know it takes a lot of work behind the scenes. And Clark, hey, maybe not as many announcements while playing video games. Rest the voice a little bit. Don't get too carried away, okay?
All right, I'll try and control myself when I'm playing Madden next time.
That's right. We're gonna need you 100% come August 26th. Beat the Lions, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Yeah,
thank you.
For sure. Thanks, Matt.
Well, there you go, Real Hondo Prep football fans. If that doesn't get you ready for the season, I don't know what will. For those of you that cannot make it out to see the action live in person, for those of you that can't have season tickets, if you will, hey, you got options here. You can hear Clark and Kyle there on the broadcast, and they put so much work into this behind the scenes. They're giving of their time, and I think that is absolutely wonderful. So don't hesitate to get on there and subscribe to NFHS.com.org. I always forget, but it's there. It's a few dollars, and if nothing else, if you watch one game, well, that's what it would cost to attend the game, right? I think it's like $10, $8, whatever it is, to attend a real game in person. So with $11 a month, you get 4 or 5 games. So think of it that way, and you get to watch it from your living room on the TV or on your laptop or whatever. But they're doing a great job there. So support them by supporting Real Hondo Prep Football. And again, you can watch previous games. You can go back and watch games. Even if you attended the game, you can then go back and rewatch it maybe and listen to the broadcast. So there's always that, right? So there's different ways to support these guys, and hey, give them some listenership, and maybe we'll have them back on the podcast later in the year as we continue to chat Real Hondo Prep Football here on the official podcast of Real Hondo Prep Football, a charge to keep. Guys, more big guests and events and podcasts here on the Charge to Keep podcast pretty soon here. Once the season starts on August 26th, we will be doing a full recap show and preview of the upcoming opponents. So stay tuned for all that. Obviously, you've heard a few other guests here on the podcast specifically dedicated to Real Hondo Prep football as we build up here to the kickoff against the El Monte Lions on August 26th in the first game of the season for the Real Hondo Prep Cares of 2022. Can't wait for that, guys. So for those of you that are new to the podcast, please continue to support it, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, however you listen to this podcast, please subscribe just so you get the notifications. We're also here on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Charge to Keep podcast. Subscribe there, no charge, of course, just to stay updated with our upcoming episodes. And during the football season, as I just continue to echo, I will be there live at games, do a few Facebook Live videos, but they will be under the new platform, A Charge to Keep. So if you haven't given a like or a follow on social media, A Charge to Keep on Facebook, Twitter, even Instagram for some photos there. Be sure to subscribe and follow any way you can here to the Charge to Keep podcast, because this is like the Real Hondo Radio Network, if you will. Now that I have this separate from my my Get Home Safe podcast, which I'm still doing and still give my opinions there weekly on that podcast. But for now, Charge to Keep, it's football season, or it will be shortly. It's all about Real Hondo Prep football, and I hope you guys find this stuff as exciting as I do, and get you ready to go for the upcoming season. We can't kick this thing off soon enough, guys. Thanks for tuning in. A big thank you to Kyle Horton and Clark Bollinger, not just for the great work they do in broadcasting Real Hondo Prep football, but also for their thoughts on today's show. It was a blast talking with those guys today, and man, can we kick this thing off? Have I said that already? All right, I'll get out of your way, guys. I'll get out of your hair, and we can go about our lives. But Real Hondo Prep football, it's coming up quick. I hope you guys are ready, guys. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. But guys, that'll be today's final thoughts on the show. We are moving on. We'll be here again next week, and looking forward to more and more episodes as we eventually will be doing a weekly show on Sundays and putting out again, recapping and previewing the upcoming games, much like we did last year on the Get Home Safe podcast. Guys, have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the summer as we approach kickoff here for the Real Hondo Prep season. But guys, in moving forward, this is a reminder to be, let's see here. I don't want to mess this up. I think I messed it up last time. The phrase that I wanted to use. Yes, humble in victory, gracious in defeat. I think I flipped that last time, which is kind of the way I do things. I always flip things. But anyway, I guess you could be humble in defeat as well as gracious in victory. I don't know. I think it works. But either way, this is a reminder to all of us to be humble in victory, gracious in defeat, because we all do have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never dying soul to save, and fit it for the sky. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give.